Welcome back, guys, to another Cash It Pod episode. We are here down the final stretches of the NBA season. Got a lot going on injury-wise. World Baseball Classic going on. Not going to go too much in on that, but we'll touch on it. And still staying red hot. We were last here on Thursday, obviously, for the Friday slate. Talked about that Grizzlies love bet. That wrapped up a 4-1 week on love bets. We have another one for tomorrow, so stay tuned so you guys can hear about that. John, how you doing? How's the weekend treating you?
Okay. Hopefully the voice is getting a little better, so it's not too annoying to everybody today. But we'll try to get through tomorrow's NBA card. As Ben said, got a love bet. We don't have them often. Last week, for me to have 5 love bets is, again, we don't use them as a sales tactic. Guys are out there using their mega whale, whatever they call it, as a sales tactic. I have a 5-unit bet once in a while. Just so happened last week where we're literally pillaging the lines at DraftKings a day ahead of time, as we've done so again today. And that's what I'm able to make a love bet. Remember, guys, I like the game more and more the further my line is away from the line that we could bet. So let's take example. We're going to talk about the game that we bet tomorrow. We took 2 on a team that I believe should be the favorite, and DraftKings has now made them the favorite. And when we get there, we'll talk to them. And that's what makes it a love bet. Usually if I'm 2 points off in that area, 1.5 end the spot, that's a light bet. When I get to 3 points or more off, that's what's going to give me a love bet. And that's we ran into a lot of them last week, 5 of them. As we get towards the end of the season, I'll have different lines than the line makers. The horrible 4, that, as I call them, that's the Hornets, Pistons, Spurs, Rockets, all teams not fighting for a playoff spot, fighting for lottery balls. No reason to win. Detroit's going to put basically a G League team on the floor. Yeah. It's an embarrassment tonight what they're putting out there. They got some legitimate injuries. Cunningham, who's been out all year. They lost Diallo. Again, he'll be out for the year. So they get some legitimate injuries. Bagley just hurt himself. Stewart's hurt. But Bogdanovich, I don't know what's going on with him. Ivy, I believe it's protocols. They've got a G League team, and we always like to say a couple of guys from LA Fitness, and that's what they're going to be on the court with tonight. Again, no reason to win. San Antonio. They went and shocked the Nuggets the other day. 128-120 in San Antonio. Pop said, whoa, enough of that. So he sat Jones, Keldon Johnson, Stoken, the power forward, the rookie power forward, and made sure that they got crushed by OKC their next game. So these 4 teams, again, Houston, San Antonio, Hornets, Pistons, no reason to win. Right now, Pistons have a half-game lead for the worst team on the Rockets. Rockets play the Celtics tonight. We're on the Celtics. One of the reasons we're on the Celtics, we were on the Bulls just the other night against the Rockets. You'll see we're going to be betting against these teams. Just no reason to win. Celtics will basically name their number tonight. No game last night, Celtics, so they're fresh. No game tomorrow, so really nothing to look ahead for. So they'll get their guys some run for this trip. So it's basically a name your number game, though they should be ahead 15, 18, 20 in the fourth quarter. Do they give them the back door, or do Blake and Cornette and Hauser and that second unit put up enough points to stay ahead? So again, I'll have different numbers than these guys going down the stretch. We talk about the games meaning more to these. If you look in the West, I mean, this is great. You've got a 4-team, 4-way tie for the 9th, 10th spot in the West with Utah, New Orleans, Lakers. Okay, and who's the other one? Utah, New Orleans.
OKC.
Lakers and OKC. So it's a 4-way tie for those last 2 playing spots. So those 4 teams, they're going to be playing their best ball. Games mean something to them every game to get in. Utah does play tonight. Tough one for Utah. Final game of a 6-game, 11-day road trip. And we saw Portland go through this last night, end of a long road trip. They sat Lillard. They were down 20 in the first quarter. The game was over. Minutes into the game, you knew they were going to lose that one, even though Pelicans were without Brandon Ingram. So again, who's going for it and who's trying to lose, this will make a lot of our bets clearer. We talked about it last podcast. Denver, it's nothing to play for. Big lead out west. They haven't won a game since we talked about it the other night. And they ain't going to win tomorrow either, because that's our love bet on Toronto. But we'll talk more about that, Ben.
Yeah, that Western Conference dead tie right now. I mean, 13 to the 5th seed. It's, I think, a 2.5 game separation. All those teams you have there who are locked up in that 4-game race. I mean, 2.5 games from that worst team there with the Pelicans down to the Clippers. So a lot of room for those to bounce around. We'll see who beats up on who. Just to go back to what you were talking about as far as the rarity of the love bets with having 5 last week. I think prior to last week, it was just 11 on the NBA season. So it's almost 35% of them just in 1 week of the season so far. That edge is big right now. So you guys who are members, make sure you capitalize and hop on board. I mean, that Raptors line, you guys are going to see this in the morning, but that Raptors line's already moved a couple hours as of today. Who knows how much farther it'll go by tomorrow.
Right. Hey, look, again, if you have DraftKings, if you have an account with DraftKings, you're a fool if you're not following us. And I don't mean follow. If you're not a member of How to Beat the Bookie, you should be following us anyway. But if you're just waiting to see the podcast when Ben, we're shooting this Monday night, so Ben's going to post this, about 9-10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, Ben?
Yep, 9 Eastern.
Well, we took 2 on the Raptors. Raptors are right now 1-point favorite. Guys, that $39 it costs, that's the juice you'd have to buy the number down on one bet. Become a member. We're going to pillage. And like I said, pillage. We're going to pillage DraftKings line the rest of the way. This will be our 6th love bet now, and I believe it's 10 days. Count on a lot more. I never guarantee anything. You know, I see Ben has been answering a lot of questions in the DMs. How many bets do you give a day? How many? We don't know. Yesterday was none. It was a rare time, but we had none. The night before, we had 5. Where I feel there's an edge, I make a bet. I make a bet to win. I say this all the time. I don't bet for entertainment. I've got other things I can do for entertainment. I bet so I can build the bankroll. Baseball's right around the corner. We want to make sure we have a nice, solid bankroll. So no guarantee on how many bets we'll make, but we made 1 for today, and we got 1 love bet already tomorrow. Once again, 30-some-odd hours before tip-off. Why? Because I know what the line is. I know what the line's supposed to be. I'm already up on injuries. I know going into before the lines come out on DraftKings, Jamal Murray did not come back in the game once he left yesterday. That was a war down the edge going down the stretch with the Nets. If he was healthy, he would have come back in the game. So I put a little question mark. Murray, questionable. That's only going to add to what I think Toronto should be the favorite if he's out. Don Best didn't even have him questionable. I know once Don Best puts him up as questionable, going to move the line even more. As I said, we got Toronto going from a 2-point dog to a 1-point favorite. If you have a DraftKings account, I can guarantee you we will beat the line on every love bet. We're gonna beat the line on 90% of all the bets. But on a love bet, we're gonna beat the line on every bet. You got a DraftKings account, guys? $39.99, or I don't even know. Did we get rid of the 99 cents? We might have got rid of the 99 cents so B could do the bookkeeping easier. $39. Become a member. You're a fool if you don't.
Yep. Make sure you guys take advantage of that. And just to go back to what you were saying about members or non-members asking the DMs questions about what it looks like to be a member, how many bets you get a day. That's one of the most asked questions. How many bets a day? Like John said, some days 6, some days 0. Depends on when we have an edge. Some of the other questions, just the difference between a VIP membership and a basic membership. I know even some basic members still have questions about this because we get DMs about that often. Basically, guys, you're going to get the bets no matter what, whether you're a VIP member or whether you have just the basic membership package. The only difference is when you get them. So, for example, basic members have not seen this Raptors +2 bet yet. They'll see it tomorrow when the previews get posted. VIP members get bets as soon as we place them. They get sent instant notifications. So that's really just for that overnight line, that getting those bets earlier, even in the morning. Say we're not betting the bet overnight, but we're betting it, 6, 7, 8 a.m. You guys will get it then as well. So those basic membership packages, you guys will still get those. Those get posted around 10, 11 Eastern. You'll get all the previews for all the games. You'll still get all the bets. Just can't guarantee you'll get the same price for MLB money lines or spreads in the NBA and NFL. I know those two questions get asked a lot. Look,
if you have a DraftKings account, you have to get the VIP. This way, I believe we sent that bet out at 12:23 this afternoon. You want to get down, beating the number, guys. You beat the number, you beat the game. It's just that simple. That doesn't mean you're going to win every game that you beat the number. Over the long haul, beating the number, it's not even basketball anymore. It's math. You beat the number continuously, you're going to end up on the right side of the ledger. It's just the way it is. So if you have a DraftKings account, you've got to be a VIP member. I'm making bets 36 hours before tip-off. Like I said, we guarantee you. Matter of fact, Ben put a post up last week. I guess it was Toronto, the Raptor game. He told you in the video, we guarantee, I think we took 1.5 on that game. We guarantee the Raptors would be the favorite. They were the favorite. They were a 2-point favorite. We took points with them, 2-point favorite. When we make a love bet, that line is going to move. That's why it's a love bet. So if you have a DraftKings account, you must get the VIP. You'll beat the number. From now till the end of the year, you're gonna make money.
A lot of money to be made, and especially the MLB season around the corner. John, I don't know if you saw any World Baseball Classic news or anything like that. Yesterday, Team USA lost to Mexico 11-5, and just a quick point on baseball. I mean, that's a Hall of Fame caliber lineup Team USA has, but no pitching. Because you know how it is. MLB pitchers got to be precious with their arms. They're delicate. And that's what baseball is. And when it comes to betting, that's what it's all about, pitching. And they're going to struggle making damage in the World Baseball Classic if they don't have pitching.
Got to have pitching. Pitching's the name of the game. You're only as good as who's on the mound that day. I'll take you guys way back. I know the audience isn't this old. I'm not even this old. This came down from my father, who was a bookmaker. The Boston Braves was Warren Spahn and Johnny Sain. That was it. They were great. 2 pitches, but that's all they had. So the saying was back then, it was Spahn and Sain and pray for rain. If you got rain on the 3rd day, you could bring Warren Spahn back. That's when these guys pitched 40, 50 games a year as a starting pitcher and went 8, 9 innings every game.
Yeah, pitching it does everything to the line. That's another question we're getting lately as well. Coming up on baseball season, a lot of DMs asking about how we bet baseball, the success of last year. Started off a little bit rough, but ended the season plus 40 units. It was the back end of the season from June all throughout, all profitable months, and not have a losing month from June on. And it's all through betting underdogs, 90% underdogs. A lot of that, taking those better pitchers on shit teams against better opponents. You're going to get nice value there. That's what baseball is. 162-game season. Got to find the value there with those shit teams in 162
game season. If you don't have patience, do not become a member. We're not going to be betting your favorite teams. We don't bet the chalk. There's no Dodgers. It's dogs. Dogs are more dogs. Look, early in the year, I recognized Orioles were a better team than they were given credit for. We made a shitload of money with the Orioles last year. They put a run on that was phenomenal. I gave it a chase. This is getting the value. And all value means is taking a team or a pitcher that's worth more than the line says. In other words, if I might think this line should only be $1.40, we're taking $1.70 on the game. Hey, let's jump on that game. Yeah, we're going to, again, guys, we say this before every baseball season. We're going to lose over half of our games. There's no question about it. We only hope to win in that 44, 47, 48%. If we win 48%, we're going to crush it. We're going to absolutely crush it. I don't say this lightly. 90%. Yes, 90% of our games are underdogs. We're always betting the dog. And when we bet favorites, there's no 180s. You might see a 130, a 1.25, but they ain't no 180s and 220s. You want that. You go down to the pick vault, right? And it gives you 4 teams minus 480 and 760, and then you lay $2 on a 14 parlay. We don't do that here. You get dogs with value. Every once in a while, we'll have the favorite. If I give you a 25-cent favorite minus 125, I'm making that game at least $1.50. That's why I'll make the bet. So it's all about value. Please, there's nothing more than I hate than guys sending me DMs right after losing with a big dog in extra innings. You're gonna get yourself blocked. So just don't even join. It's a long season. Okay, if you're one of those guys that's gonna DM me as soon as the other team takes a 3-0 lead in the second inning, save yourself the energy. Go join some other guy that says he hits 80% on his well bets. He hits 80% of the games that are 300. You're gonna get value. Had a rough start, like Ben said. Actually, we started off great. I think we started off with the Diamondbacks, night one, walk-off homer. I'm like, that's the way I like to start the season. Had a little rough time, no question about it. By the end of the season, did what we always do, make the money, betting value. Same thing here, like I said. When we're betting the Raptors, tomorrow's game +2, and the line goes to 1 already, we already get the value. We have turned the tables on the book. Name of this is How to Beat the Bookie. I've already beat the bookie. The players now have to do their job. Beating the line, we have taken the edge away from them. NBA, NFL, you're laying minus 110. Okay, you get the point spread, and then you're laying 110. $110 to win 100. By taking 3 points better the number, in other words, let's say you would buy a half a point, you would pay an extra 10 cents for it. Okay, we just bought 3 points for that 110 that we lay. That's beating the bookie. That's gaining the edge, and that's what I want you guys. I only want sharp guys. Follow me. I can't deal with the squares. You lost again. We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose some games. I don't say we hit 80%. What I say is we bet the value. We'll beat the book. That's how we do it. If you're the guy, that's great. If you're the guy that thinks he's going to win every game and every week because, if I'm paying for it, you should win. Don't follow me. Go follow somebody else.
Yep, guys, long-term value. I mean, you guys want to look at the Yankees last year, perfect example, the 99-game win season. DraftKings came out for 2022. The team that made DraftKings the most money in 2022 was the New York Yankees, having a 99-game win season, 5th best in the MLB. So that juice, the heavy wins, yes, they might win a lot of games, but what you have to pay to win on it just doesn't add up long-term. And that's what How to Beat the Bookie is all about, long-term edges, long-term profitability.
Look, you got the Dodgers won a record, 111 games last year.
Yep.
But all it takes is one bad weekend, which they had in L.A. against the Pittsburgh Pirates early in the season, and they got swept. So if you're one of those guys that think, the Dodgers can't lose to the Pirates again at home. The Dodgers can't lose. The Dodgers can't get swept by. Yeah, they did. And that's all you need is one bad weekend like that. That's why, look, we talk about it. I bet 3% on a like bet, 3% of your bankroll. I bet 5% of your bankroll on a love bet. Okay. Anybody that's betting more than that, or that's telling you that they bet more, they don't. Or if they do, they're a sucker. I do see guys saying that they bet 8 units. If 1 unit is supposed to represent 1% of your bankroll, you're betting 8 units on a particular game. So you're betting 12.5% of your bankroll on one game. No, you're not real. You're not real. And if somebody's paying that guy, you're a moron. We discussed it, I think, last week. One of these fakes out there had 50% of his bankroll on a couple of games. Yeah. 50%. So in other words, he was betting half his bankroll. No real guy would do that. So anybody that tells you they do that is a fraud. We tell you what we bet. 3% on a like bet, 5% on a love bet. As discussed, We don't have love bets every day. There's a love bet when there's a real edge. You guys can see it. We've got a 3-point edge tomorrow. We took +2. The team we took +2 with is now 1-point favorite. That's the edge. That's what makes it a love bet. What makes these games a whale bet for these other guys? What do they got on the game?
That was one thing I was going to bring up. I sell winners. Fairly sharp guy. Nothing against him, but even his VIP members or his monthly members, whatever, they don't get their exclusive what they call them exclusive bets. They don't get their exclusive bets. You have to pay for that separately, and it's all salesman tactics. And he's even one of the better guys out there. That doesn't even get to some of the horrible guys that we mentioned before in the past, just absolutely trying to reel you in with crazy tactics. The VIP package to the basic package, you can genuinely see the edge you get with overnight lines to the next day, the way we beat the line night before and the morning of with some of these games. True edge, and there's a true reason for why there's a difference in packages. It's not just a sales tactic by any means.
Yeah, look, guys, we have no sales force. You see our show, you go to the website, you sign up, you don't sign up. We don't come after you with DMs. As a matter of fact, let's go through that again. Also, there is a guy, he's a fraud. He goes by How to Beat the Bookie, even using my name, John Massa. He has 3 O's in the word bookie. It's a fraudulent account. He goes down my list and poaches all us guys in their DMs. I would never DM you to send me money somewhere else. We only do it one way. You go to our website. Hey, this guy looks like he knows what he's talking about, and you sign up. We got no salesman. Our entire force is me, Ben, and B, who does all our customer service stuff and website stuff. And then we've got one tech geek, I guess you could call him, who did our app and everything else. No sales. That's why we can keep the price down to what it is. I don't have to give commissions on sales. If you think I know what I'm talking about, you'd be smart and you would join. If you don't think I know what I'm talking about, don't watch, don't bet, or watch entertainment for entertainment. Anyway, no sales force. Watch what we beat the lines. Tomorrow, you guys will watch this. Remember, we're shooting this Monday night. I guess it's 6:05 right now. No. We sent out the bet. You could verify by our guys. We'll do a video. We'll get this up on my Instagram page. We sent this out at 12:23. Raptors +2. We'll get down to that game. Why don't we get into it a little bit, Ben?
Yeah, let's talk about the slate tomorrow. We can just open up with that Nuggets-Raptors game. So Nuggets coming in, losing 3 straight. Like John said earlier, like we said last week, this Nuggets team, comfortable lead, which is starting to look a little bit less comfortable now, just 5 games up on Sacramento, but nonetheless, still a fairly comfortable lead coming down the stretch of the season. Murray, like John said, left last game, so he's going to be questionable. Best record in the NBA at home, not quite as dominant on the road, just 16-16. Toronto, they're coming back from a 1-4 trip. One of those games they lost on that trip was at Denver. It was close down the stretch. They lose it. So you have a little bit of a revenge factor there. They're 2-2 against the spread the last 4 meetings. This Raptors team not playing, obviously, like I said, 1-4 on the trip, but they're down there at the back end of the East. They're trying to make the climb, trying to maybe get home court advantage in the play-in tournament. This is a revenge game instantly. And then you have this Nuggets team who's struggling right now on this little journey. So definitely great value there, especially if Murray is out.
It's just that simple. Toronto in the 9th spot right now in the East. Denver, they've lost their last 3 games, but they're 0-4 against the spread the last 4, with the 4th one being against Toronto. Toronto had a lead in that game. Denver come back to win it. In that game, if you guys remember, Toronto got teed up late in the game. The game was down to 1. This is a game that Toronto will look for. Toronto's been off for 3 days. So they had that West Coast trip. They've been back home. They should get their stuff right to make a little push now. Denver just played yesterday afternoon. Another home loss to the Brooklyn Nets. And like I said, I caught Jamal Murray not in the game at the end. And if he's not in, there's no way in the world that Denver, who's barely over 5, it's 500 on the road, 16 straight up. And what is their record? 14 and 18 against the spread. So there's no way. If Murray's out, there is no way possible Denver could be the favorite. Toronto's at least a 2-point favorite. We took 2. DraftKings now has gone to Toronto 1-point favorite. There's your value.
Nope, already a 3-point swing there. We'll see how much it continues to climb tomorrow on Tuesday. You guys will see once this is uploaded. Going to the top of the card, though, John, Pistons at Wizards. So Detroit guys going to be on a back-to-back. We'll see what happens here. Playing tonight in their second game of a 2-game set with Indiana. Mentioned them at the start. Just another one of these teams in that bottom four who just doesn't have anything to play for but for the lottery pick. It's a completely different Pistons team this time of year compared to last year. This time last year, Pistons were on that. It was like 16-1 against the spread run. We were just betting them every week. Complete opposite this time. We'll see if any of these guys who've been sitting out these last couple of weeks here, if they come back tomorrow. If not, absolutely Washington or nobody. And I think it's worth laying the double digits on this game. You have the Wizards, who's not been playing the best. They're 1-5 their last 6. They absolutely need a win. They're right there with Toronto as far as back end of the East. Need to make a climb there for the play-in. They've won the last 7 meetings and the last 15 in Washington, 13-1-1 against the spread. Have to see what's going on with Kyle Kuzma, though. He is listed questionable. Wizards are nobody. Not an ideal spot for the Pistons. And with Halliburton out tonight, wouldn't be surprised if Pistons snap this long losing streak they're on, maybe against Indiana. Maybe you could have even a little bit of a letdown there going against Washington tomorrow.
Yeah, Washington, they just, with their loss yesterday, fell out of a tie with Chicago for the 10 spot. Pacers, if they get a win tonight, they'll be tied with the Bulls. Wizards will be a half game behind both of them. So as you said, if they want to make the playoffs, this is a game they absolutely have to have. Yep. We just bet Wizards in the second half against Detroit last week. The game was a red-hot game. I laid off it from the start. The game went from 6.5 to 10.5. At halftime, I thought it was a good spot. Pistons are just – look, we talked about it. Pistons have hardly nobody playing. It's a G League team. Now they'll be back-to-back. Only question is, will Bogdanovich, Ivy, and who's the other guy that they might have?
Burks.
Or will any of them be available tomorrow because they're sitting out tonight? So it's an injury game, but nothing to talk about. Again, Pistons, they have the worst record in the NBA. They're going to look to maintain that for that number 1 pick. It's Wizards and nobody, even with the big number. Again, all depends on who'll be playing.
Yeah, last year down the stretch of the season with Cade Cunningham in, they were kind of playing a little bit on to the next year, get the young guys experience. With him hurt right now, it's just all about getting that lottery pick and seeing if they can land the lucky guy, get Wembanyama, and have someone to pair with Cunningham. So different mindset there. This next game has another one of these teams here in the bottom 4 with the same thought process in the Charlotte Hornets. They're getting in the second game of a 2-game set with the Cavs. So Cavs beat them in the first game. Hornets did cover in a 114-108 loss. That took place on Sunday. You have Cleveland, who's won 4 of the last 5 meetings, just 2-2-1 against the spread. A little bit of a weird spot here. So you have the Cavs 4-1, just 2-3 against the spread their last 5. Second game of 2-game set in Charlotte. Next game going to be with the Sixers. So a little bit of a look ahead there with some top 4 teams in the East. I'd lean to Charlotte in this spot. Oubre has been announced probable. Williams going to be out. Waiting to see what's up with Martin. Lean here to Charlotte. Don't love it. Don't love backing them at home. They're down there in bottom 5 against the spread at home this season. Just a horrible spot altogether for Cleveland. Could not lay them here as the road favorite.
Yeah, Charlotte has actually still been trying. Problem is, since they lost Ball, it's been tough. Oubre's been come back doing a little scoring. He missed the last game. Charlotte blew a 16-point lead the other night against Cleveland.
Yep.
Tough game to lose. But they've played them good. The last 2 years now, Cavs have won the last 3 meetings at Charlotte, but only by a combined 10 points, including that win Sunday night. Earlier in the season, they go to Cleveland, double overtime. It took the Cavs to beat Charlotte. So they've been playing decent basketball, Charlotte. They're playing them tight. They're not just dead in the water, giving it up like Spurs, Rockets, and Pistons are. So they do get a break. Allen will remain out. He missed the last game for the Cavs. Oubre will be back. And as Ben said, big look-ahead game for Cleveland. Do they sit anybody tomorrow with the 76ers the following day? So it's Hornets or no one in that one. The game set at DraftKings actually just went down to 7.5. It was sitting at 8 for a little while. I was hoping for a little bit more of a juicy number. They were 10 just the other day, 7.5. Again, it's Charlotte or nobody, but at this point, I need more points than that.
Yeah, we saw them with a Russ Garland the other night. Maybe they get a rest now for Donovan Mitchell. Maybe it's his turn around. So that's a good point there. We'll see if that's the case. We saw that in Portland yesterday, back end of a trip against New Orleans. They go ahead and rest Damian Lillard. Could be similar situation for Mitchell. Next game here, two teams playing pretty good right now, John. You have the Nets and the Thunder, both 5-1 their last 6 games. Nets covered all 6. OKC did not cover the 1. Mikal Bridges, since coming over, who's been known for his defense, runner-up and defensive player of the year last year, scoring with the best of them, 28.3 points per game in this little 5-1 stretch here for Brooklyn. And then you have this OKC team. SGA rested there against San Antonio, most likely going to be probable, listed questionable right now. Thunder, weird matchup history. So they won 7 of the last 9 meetings. That's going back kind of far a little bit to the OKC or to the Kevin Durant days. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. And you have Brooklyn, who's won the last 2 at OKC by 20 plus. So a little bit of a domination there from Brooklyn at OKC. They've been better on the road. Again, with this Nets team, though, that's, Kevin Durant Nets going back to OKC those last 2 games. Maybe a little bit of a reason there for those 20-point blowouts. Maybe take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. So weird matchup here all around with the matchup history. 2 teams playing well. I have a slight lean to OKC just with SGA getting the rest, coming back here. But tough game for me to get a read on all around. I'll most likely stay away from it.
I like the Nets in this one. Nets are playing real good basketball. They come back from the All-Star break, and they get absolutely blitzed by the Bulls, by 40-something. They go to Chicago. They go on a little tailspin, lose the next few games. So they wind up losing the first 4 after the All-Star break. They turn it around after getting beat by 24 by the Knicks. They go to Boston, and they find themselves in a 28-point hole early in the game. They turn the game around, the biggest turnaround this year in the NBA, and they've been on fire since. They lost 1 game since then. That was to the Bucks at Milwaukee when they basically sat the entire team, and they gave Milwaukee all they could handle, 118-113 loss.
Yep.
So you've got the Nets now playing great ball, 5-1 straight up, 6-0 against the spread. The 1 loss, like I said, at Milwaukee. Just looking at some lines move right now that we're looking at. But getting back to the Nets, looked horrible after they got Kyrie. Now I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be okay. I thought the sum of pieces, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Dinwiddie, and DFS, Finney Smith coming over from Dallas. Thought they would meld with their existing players, Claxton, Harris, Curry, O'Neal. So without a superstar, but a lot of real good NBA players. Well, Bridges is taking himself to another level. Dinwiddie doing a real good job as the point. This team looks
assists his last game. I think he had 16 assists that last game there against Denver.
They're all getting more comfortable with every passing game. Little home revenge here. OKC beat the Nets earlier in the season by 10 in Brooklyn. And as you said, a little weird thing. OKC's won the last 3 in Brooklyn. Nets have dominated the last 2 in OKC by a combined 46 points. Last game of a trip, which is a little scary. Always a little scary, that last game of a trip, especially when it's a successful trip. But Nets are in that 5-6 battle with the Knicks. They want to stay ahead of, remember, the 1 through 6 are your playoff teams. 7 through 10 are play-in. Okay, not an automatic spot. You got to win the top 2 teams that win that play-in. So they want to stay in that top 6. And I think Nets come with a big W there. OKC will come with their game also. We talked about them earlier. 4-way tie right now. Pelicans, Jazz, Lakers, and themselves for the 9th and 10th spot, the last 2 play-in spots in the West. Great teams, both hot right now. I'll give the edge to Brooklyn in this one. DraftKings has got the game picked. We expect Shai to play. He sat out in the last game. They announced when he came back from injury, he'll be limited with his minute. He'll be monitored. Excuse me. He hasn't played in a back-to-back yet. He sat in the second half of the back-to-back last night. Expect him back. He comes back in. They announce he's in. That line will go higher. That's when we'll look to take the Nets.
Yeah, you mentioned end of a trip here for Brooklyn. That's another part of this. It's not just end of a trip. It's who they go home to after this trip. They get the two top teams in the West, Sacramento and Denver. And then after that, they get a 2-game set in Brooklyn with the Cavs, who's currently slated in that 4th spot. So if they hold this 5th spot, that's who they're going to be seeing here in the first round if they hold on to that. So weird little 4-game homestand that they have coming up when they get back from this trip. We'll see how they hold on there playing Sacramento. Next game here, John, Lakers-Pelicans. Now, this Pelicans team coming off a win against the Blazers. No Ingram in that game. McCollum did play, and then you have, no Damian Lillard in that spot. This Lakers team been playing pretty great, 7-3 their last 10, but they are coming off a loss against the Knicks. Lakers getting a lot of D'Angelo Russell right now. No LeBron. D'Angelo Russell's come back. He's had a couple of great games. Didn't miss a beat from the injury. If anything, it looks better than he did prior to the injury. And you have a little bit of weird matchup history here as well. You have Lakers who have won 2 of the last 3 meetings this season, but they did lose the one at New Orleans, and Pelicans 4-2 against the spread there those last 6 meetings. So a little bit of a revenge factor. Got to see what's going on with Ingram. Obviously, a lot of history with AD and New Orleans. Weird game all around, slightly into the Lakers. Not jumping out of my seat to bet them on the road. A lot of the success they've had this last 10 games has come on their home floor.
Well, Lakers beat the Pelicans up the last game before the All-Star break. So, yes, earlier in the season, they went to New Orleans and they lost. We actually had the Pelicans in that game, but they did beat them up pretty good in L.A. the last meeting, the final game before the All-Star break. AD, last couple of games, not so great. He'd been putting up phenomenal numbers. Yep. So Russell comes back, and now Russell's the star of the show their last 2 games. The last game doesn't work out. They don't get the W there. So you might want to look for what's going on. You got to feed the big dog. AD was just absolutely killing it with a couple of 30 and 15 type games. Like I said, now Russell comes back from the injury, and he's getting the numbers. AD, not so much. AD going back, like you said, to New Orleans, the team that he was drafted from. And with Brandon Ingram questionable, Ingram's missed the last 2 games. Look, there's not a line. Not DraftKings. Nobody's even got a line on this. So to give you an opinion on this without a number, just too tough. Like I said, AD, not a couple of great games. Was he looking ahead to going back to New Orleans for this game?
No.
We'll see. We'll see what the numbers come up. And obviously, Brandon Ingram, a crucial game for him to play. As we just had mentioned, 4-way tie. Pelicans and Lakers are part of that 4-way tie for the 9 and 10 play-in spots.
Yeah, watch out for the Pelicans come playoff time. I mean, last year they were kind of a threat there in the playoffs coming out of the play-in. They did damage against Phoenix, didn't get the win in the series, but they put up a hell of a fight against the team with the best record, and that was without Zion. So if somehow Zion comes back and Ingram can get healthy at the right time come playoff time, Pelicans might be a sneaky little play-in team that could cause some problems for maybe even a team like Denver if they catch in that 8 seed, depending on how things shake up. Magic at Spurs. You have this Orlando team coming off a win against Miami in overtime. Dominated them in overtime, 126-114. Weird double-digit OT win. That happened on Saturday, so they're going to be coming in on a couple days of rest. Not the best success on the road. Wagner right now listed questionable. Then you have the San Antonio team who sat everybody there against OKC. Lost to them by 12. This one's a little bit shaping up for a little revenge factor here for the Spurs. They lose earlier this year at Orlando. They had won the 5 prior meetings, 4-1 against the spread. It is a nice little dog number there. And San Antonio's looked decent since they had that little four-day break. They come back from the 4-day break, and then they get the win against Denver. Obviously, they sat there against OKC. Will be a little bit of a lean here for the Spurs to me. Last I checked, that line was set at about 5.5.
Well, again, if this game was a month or so ago, I would have already took the Magic at DraftKings plus 5.5 today. But we're talking about it's tank time for Popovich. So he sat, like I said, Trey Jones, Socon, the power forward, and leading scorer Keldon Johnson in the last game. Does he intend on playing them? Branham also got injured in that game. He'll be questionable. All about the injuries. Are they motivated for a win? Again, like I said, a month or so ago, this would have been an automatic bet already. Magic beat the Spurs by 20 in Orlando earlier in the year. Spurs had won 2 meetings last year and 2 meetings the year before by an average of over 20 points per game. 3 of the meetings by over 20 points. The 2 meetings at home by a combined 53 points would be a perfect spot for San Antonio. Just how motivated is San Antonio to lose, not to win? So there's one of the teams that just can't stay off. Wagner, key piece for Orlando. We'll see if he's going to be available. Again, would be Spurs or nobody, but it's not going to be the Spurs if the team doesn't want to win and wants to play for lottery picks.
Yeah, got 2 hands up being in that lineup. The next game, hard to touch on. Both teams playing tonight. Bucks at Phoenix. Giannis questionable tonight, so we have to see if he's going to go against Sacramento, and we'll see what the Suns show up with in the second end of a back-to-back. I would lean to Giannis sitting tonight in Sacramento, play against the Suns. Obviously, some history there in that matchup at the finals a year ago, but hard to give you much more than that. Bucks have won 6 of the last 7 meetings going back to that finals. Suns did cover in that last meeting they just had a couple weeks ago in Milwaukee, and Suns did beat the Bucks last year in Phoenix, but that was the big finals revenge game. So have to see who's playing, have to see how tonight goes. Hard to really get a read on that game. I can't really give you much more than that.
Yeah, that's the case. We'd love to really go in depth, but when you get back-to-backs, remember we're shooting this, it's now 6:20 Monday. Both teams are playing tonight. The best player on the planet, or one of the best players on the planet, don't know if he's playing tonight, much less tomorrow. Phoenix lost a tough game at Milwaukee a couple of Saturdays ago by 3 points. So they've had this game circled. You could be sure of it. As a matter of fact, we had Sacramento the other night at Phoenix. Sacramento beat them outright. If Phoenix would have won in that spot, their game tonight would have been a love bet for Golden State. Would love Golden State, again, for Monday night, just because of the spot. You would have had Phoenix knocking off Sacramento, going to Golden State, a team they've beaten 3 times already this year, looking ahead for Milwaukee. So this is when we talk about spots and trying to make you guys understand what we're looking at. Same thing the players are looking at. They're going to get up for certain games. Michael Jordan doesn't play anymore. He got up for 82 games. Kobe, same kind of thing. But not all these guys get up for 82. You know, you see this management for the injuries, all this nonsense that's going on. So we'll have to see what's happening tonight. I'm waiting for the lineup for Phoenix and Milwaukee, both teams tonight, seeing if maybe, hey, do they sit anybody? Again, would have definitely bet against Phoenix already. If they won the other night, that's the only thing that makes me think, okay, maybe they play everybody tonight to pick up for that loss. But, yeah, Milwaukee, does Giannis play tonight? Both those things and how they play, who has the tougher game in the back-to-back, will make us make our decision on that game. Again, no line on this game either, just the same as the next game. We can talk a little bit more about the next game because we have a better idea. But both back-to-back, both Giannis, one of the better players, just tough to give you real opinion on that game.
Yeah, I'm still comfortable saying Giannis is the best player in the NBA. I know Jokic coming off maybe, he's going to be on his 3rd straight MVP season. But until you see Jokic do it come postseason time, I'll still give Giannis that edge there in that matchup. But I understand what you're saying. Last game, John, Knicks Blazers. I'll let you start this one off. Knicks been giving me some trouble here. They had that 9-game win streak. These last 4 games or so they had the 3-game losing streak, and then they get the win at LA. 3 different times I was on the wrong side, wrong read with this Knicks team in that little 4-game stretch. So I'll let you go ahead and get this one started. Maybe you got a better feel for them right now.
I'm still kicking myself in the ass that I didn't have the Knicks yesterday. We had the Knicks the day before. They played the Clippers, so it was Saturday. Saturday we went 3-2, but we started the day with an L with the Knicks.
Julius Randle no-show in that game, by the way.
That's exactly going to go 5 for 24. When you got Brunson out, your other top player cannot go 5 for 24. Single-handedly lost the game and the cover. Look, if he shoots 8 for 24, that's terrible. That's 33% from the field. Knicks cover. Knicks get us the money at 8 for 20. Can't go 5 for 24, almost 20%, just over 20%. He comes back, comes up with a game yesterday, leads them to a big W. So they now go to Portland. Portland rested Lillard. I believe so DraftKings, just looking for tomorrow, just put OKC up 1. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to get announced probable. That line will go even higher, and I'll be on the Nets. Anyway, Lillard was out of the last game, and now, yes, he's been dealing with a little bit of a calf. Still been dealing with that for a while. I think that was just an injury designation that they put on him, and they rested him for the final game of a long trip. I expect him to be back tomorrow. We'll see. But other than that, Portland went into the Garden to New York earlier this year and beat the Knicks there in overtime. Knicks will come for this one also tomorrow. Knicks were absolutely as hot as Milwaukee before that little 3-game spin. They went and they beat the Celtics in that double overtime game, and then had a fall-down game, a letdown game against the Charlotte Hornets. Then they start their trip, lose a couple of games. Randall, this was all without Brunson. Brunson's already been announced out. He's not going to play tomorrow. We'll wait to see what Lillard. I have the Knicks with Lillard in as the favorite with Brunson out. So we'll wait to see what that line pops up again. No line it right now, but my lean is to the Knicks in this one.
Yeah, lean to the Knicks as well. Matchup history does concern me a little bit. Portland winning the last 6 meetings in Portland. And then you also have the weird end of the trip here for the Knicks, but they don't play again till the 18th. They do get the Nuggets at home, so that's obviously, best team in the West, maybe a little bit of a look ahead, but you got 3 days until then to have off, so not too much of a look ahead. Just weird with the end of the trip and the Randall struggles in LA, bounce back against the Lakers, no Brunson. We'll see how the Knicks show up. I agree with you. Lean would be there slightly to the Knicks. And that's pretty much the depth of that card. Right now, How to Beat the Bookie members have only received the 1 bet with the Raptors for tomorrow. We'll see what all gets added to that. Obviously, as you guys see, we're all over these lines and all over the injury breaks as they come up, even the night before. So we'll see what all changes, what comes up, what other books open up at. Obviously, that's going to affect the market with some of those DraftKings lines as well.
And we're always looking ahead, guys. Always remember that. That's why you have to be looking ahead to what the players are looking ahead to. Yep. So the most perfect example I can for tomorrow is that Cleveland-Charlotte game with the Cavs having the Sixers the next day. Presently, those teams are 3rd and 4th in the East. They'll be looking for that game. Allen's already ruled out again. Do they give somebody else off, play Charlotte, and then go play the Sixers? But after a win, always tough to beat a team, even if it's a lesser team, to beat, not only beat, but cover a big number like that 2 games in a row, especially on the road. They'll be faced with that, plus the look at it. So again, we're not only looking at the games, we're looking at what's coming down the road, as we did with Dallas. This morning, they moved the line to Dallas, the favorite. I guess some sharp guys, because sharp guys move the numbers, thought that Irving would be playing. I didn't bite. Like I said, looking at their schedule, seeing that they didn't play, their next game won't be till the 17th against the Lakers. I'm like, I want to know he's playing, not just a hunch that he's playing, because it looks like it would make sense for Doncic and Irving to sit out these next few days. Their last game that they both played was the 8th. This will give them 9 days to get themselves right. So that's what makes sense. As Ben told you a couple of times tonight, Keys get the feeling Milwaukee will do the same with Giannis tonight, sit him tonight, and go to tomorrow. So looking ahead helps us on what we're doing today, or in the case of looking ahead for tomorrow for the Toronto-Denver game, knowing, okay, Jamal Murray's questionable at best. You know they're going to be extra careful with Murray coming off the injury from last year, and that they have that safe little lead, safe for right now. They got to start winning again, but safe for right now as the best team out in the West.
Yeah, best team in the West. Sacramento playing well. Was it first 40-win season? I think it was since 2006. So they've been taking care of business. We'll see if they try to make that push to catch Denver. I think it's a dangerous game to play because come postseason time with gas and the lack of experience, we'll see what Sacramento has left. But who knows? Maybe they try to make that push. And as we mentioned, Denver kind of pushing the brakes right now.
Look, they had a huge win for us Saturday night.
Huge. Yep.
Great spot. We took plus 3.5 on that game. The number one against us, which I was shocked, just couldn't understand it. But it went to 4. Hey, Sacramento had that game by 9 points. This is a letdown spot. So if you guys, you won't see this till tomorrow, but this is a letdown spot. They just beat Phoenix, give themselves a little more room for that Pacific Division, and they've got a team coming out there, Milwaukee, that's beaten them 13 straight times. So that's why it's all about the injuries. If Giannis is in, this game right now at 6:34 is sitting at 2. This game goes to like 5 if Giannis is in. If he's out, you're going to have Sacramento become a small favorite, and we would consider betting Milwaukee if that happens, just because of the trend and the letdown spot for Sacramento. So the spot, the line, the injuries, that's how we make our bets, guys. And again, when it's a love bet, it's a love bet because it's dead. It's further away from my number. It means I'm betting more money on it, not fucking 50%, okay? 50%. Some of these guys make me laugh. They really. I tell you all the time, guys, if you sit down at a poker table and you don't know who the mark is, you're the mark. So if you believe anything that any of these fools out there say, then I got a bridge to sell you. Because really, do it with a guy that just does it day in, day out. I tell you what the line is. I tell you what we're taking. You see the line move. Okay, that's how you beat the bookie.
That's what it's all about, guys. Beating the bookie, getting an edge. If you guys haven't already, go check out the website. That link is in the description below. Make sure you download the How to Beat the Bookie app. If you guys go on the Instagram, just put a link on the story. It's also in the bio right there if you go look at it. For the Bet with an Edge channel, it's basically just an Instagram channel. We will be sending out some promos there, some free bets every once in a while. So make sure you guys are in on that. You guys will just get some access. We'll be messaging in there every once in a while. So make sure you guys go join that. John, I don't know if you have anything else to add here before we head into this Tuesday slate.
NBA's coming down to the regular season's coming down. Then there's a whole, this is what we call the second season, the playoffs, and baseball right around the corner. This is a great time. These are my 2 best sports, NBA, Major League Baseball. Since the All-Star break, really have an edge. Look, if you guys were with us last year, had a little rough run leading up to the All-Star break. Told you during the All-Star break last year, when we come back, I will absolutely crush the NBA. We absolutely crushed the NBA. Same thing here. Fresh out of the All-Star break, banged them at over 60% winning percentage. We're going to do the same thing for the rest of the year. This is the best time of year. Best time of year for baseball. That beginning part, I expect that to be, we got a lot of new things here. Some rule changes, some things that are they're trying to help the offense. So we'll see how this all turns out. But I feel in the beginning of baseball, we should start with an edge. We'll see how it goes. Stick for the long term. Don't come for the funeral and leave before the wedding. That's what you got to do. Stick for the long term. Like I said, when we're beating the number every day in basketball, which is an easy thing to say, if we take 2 and the game goes to 1, you beat the number. It's not even about the games anymore. Mathematics. Okay, the games are only going to land in a certain area. 1 to 10, 5 one way, 5 the other way. So if you've got a 10-point gap, let's say, and you just beat the number by 3 points, look how much you have cut that gap down. So it's just about numbers at that point. It's not even about the game anymore. We're still going to lose some. We beat a game by 3 points. Look, the one game we lost happened to be Toronto. We bet Toronto plus 5 against the Clippers last week. That game closed 2.5. 2.5-point beat on the number. We lost the game. Now, I don't want to get into the refereeing because it's not me saying it. It was Fred VanVleet throwing stuff at the referee, Ben Taylor, who's now given VanVleet 3 of his technical fouls this year. He was also fined $30,000 for his comments. So again, it's not me complaining about the refs. It's one of the players. And in this case, it was Fred VanVleet. So again, we could beat the numbers. We're going to still lose some of those games. But mathematically, there's no way we're not going to win at least 55% of the games that we're beating by 2 and 3 and more points a game.
And right now, like John said, over 60% since the All-Star break. So hopefully we can continue on that stretch. And that's really since the beginning of February. So even prior to the All-Star break, this little hot streak has been going. Make sure you guys get on board for it. Go check out the website, download the app. Other than that, John, let's make some money.
Let's make some money.